I think you're channeling Avi in Brazil. Good morning. Welcome to this congregation. We are the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Lower Bucks, and I'm here to welcome you. I'm Sherry Christenberry, your lay leader today. Thank you for choosing to worship with us. Our UU community is built on love, connection, and acceptance for all who enter our space. We hope that today's message will help you on your personal and spiritual journey. Let's relax and enjoy this time together. For the month of November, you might remember, our theme is faith. Support for and cultivation of the common good is an exercise in faith that goodwill can be a bridge that reaches across much that divides us. Author Winfred Cantwell Smith asserted that faith is a quality of human living. Belief is content. Faith is a process that influences how we live and make life with meaning possible. For Smith, belief is a noun and faith is a verb. Today's speaker is Emily Quarles-Mowrer. She really needs no introduction. She's a longtime friend of our congregation. She is a child of a UU minister and has been preaching sermons of her own since 2006. Her sermon title today is A Celebration of Doubts. She says the 90s rock band Eve 6 tells us that when we swallow our doubt, we find nothing but faith in nothing. Our fourth Unitarian Universalist principle is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and it reminds us that doubt is not the end of the journey. Doubt can instead be a springboard towards the answers that deepen our faith and our connections to one another. And now we'll have our musical prelude from Avi.
Good morning. Whether you are in this room or on this Zoom with me, I am so happy to make music with you together. So let's start with a song made famous by John Hyatt about we can have faith in each other. It's called Have a Little Faith in Me.
Have a little faith in me.
perfect song for today. I'd like to invite Gil Christenberry, my husband of 31 years, up to light our chalice today while I read these opening words from Reverend Margaret Weiss. Come into this place with your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, the part that is beaming with joy, the part that is seeking the truth, the new, the possibility. Come into this place, open your heart, lay down your burden, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Come into this place with fellow travelers on the journey. Some faces new and others familiar, and all welcoming you here, now, to this moment. Come, let us worship together in love and faith. Thank you. We welcome Emily Quarles-Mowrer with a message for all ages.
Everybody, hi. So I brought a couple of props because we're talking about a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So, freedom and responsibility are two big thoughts. This one I brought for freedom, and this one I bought for responsibility. Can you figure out why? So let's talk first about responsibility. What does responsibility mean to you guys? Anybody have something they want to shout out? Commitment. What else? Doing the right thing. Excellent. All right. What about what about freedom? What does freedom mean to people? Does anybody have something for freedom? Yeah? The right to do what's right. Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Does any grown-up want to say something about freedom too? No? What's that?
Hard act to follow.
Hard act to follow. It's totally true. Totally true. Well, our Unitarian and Universalist histories are full of people who helped us to understand that our search for truth and our job as meaning makers happens with responsibility and freedom. So I'm going to light this first candle right now. I'm going to light this one for responsibility. I brought old-fashioned matches just in case I couldn't do this. All right, responsibility. Actually, let me put this on this side so that it doesn't burn anything. All right, and now we have this candle, this beautiful candle. You know, this candle for freedom, it just looks yummy. It really looks like a yummy candle. You know, I think I might just eat this candle. This is a real good candle. Frosting.
What?
It's frosting.
Oh my God.
So, does anybody want to talk about what just happened? Yeah. So, yep, what did you want to say? You got confused, right? Now, how many people thought I was holding two candles when I first held them up? Yeah, look at that. All right, how many of you think I actually ate a candle? Does look like it, doesn't it? Well, one thing I love about being Unitarian Universalist is that we get to form our own beliefs and we get to decide what's true for us. That's part of what the freedom means. And another thing I love about being Unitarian Universalist is that we get to choose what what we are going to continue to believe. Even if we think we know something to begin with, if there are other facts that come into play later, we can change our mind, and that's okay. Because a lot of you believed I was holding 2 candles at the beginning, but, I mean, did anyone at the beginning guess that I made a fake candle out of frosting? So that's the responsible part of our search for free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We have to keep an open mind, and we have to let new information come in, even if it interferes with what we used to believe was true. So as you guys go into your new week, you might want to pause when you learn something new and think, am I sure this is true? Because that's what we do in church too. All right.
We will now sing our kids off to their religious exploration class. And now I invite Emily back up for her reading.
So the reading I brought today is from Freethinking Mystics with Hands. It's by Tom Owen Towle, and it's called Open, Not Empty-Minded. Gertrude Stein once said, "It's not what Paris gives you, it's what she doesn't take away." That's a remark intensely true of Unitarian Universalism as well. We can't give our members everything. We can't possibly meet everyone's grandest desires, nor should we even try. Nonetheless, when we're faithful to our calling as free-thinking mystics, we can promise an open setting in which each of us can stretch our minds and buttress our spirits. Unitarian Universalists will not be stripped of their integrity. The Unitarian Universalist faith features neither the certain mind nor the empty mind. Instead, it fosters an open mind that can confront a novel proposal or handle an old wound, that can explore uncharted territory. We forged a community where the air is fresh and flowing freely. We tend to resemble the concluding remark of Phyllis McGinley in her poem, "The Mind Open at Both Ends." I was born to shiver in the draft of an open mind. Unitarian Universalists come by our religious values democratically. The principles we hold are not revealed to us so much as experienced by us. We freely examine every idea that comes down the pike, keeping for tenets of faith only those that prove truthful to ourselves and loving of others. There are tantalizing fantasies Unitarian Universalists are tempted to believe, but our minds won't let us. We live wholeheartedly within this single real world and affirm only what our minds, after measured reflection, authorize us to affirm. In short, to be a Unitarian Universalist requires that one shun intellectual laziness and spiritual shoddiness. We have to grow our own faith, revising it continuously during our lifetime. We are blessed, or some people say cursed, with a faith as large as the universe, as diverse as human nature, as complex as it is simple. Freethinkers are rethinkers, neither afraid to take sides nor reluctant to change sides. No tradition, no revelation, no privileged knowledge lies beyond question or critical examination. There's only experience to be interpreted in light of further experience. Colleague Walter Royal Jones tells of the evangelist who took up her place at a busy intersection, almost hidden between the panels of a sandwich sign that proclaimed on the front in huge letters, "The Answer." The rest of the placard was completely blank except for little words on the very bottom that said, "See other side." And so people would walk over to the other side and find a placard that says, "The Answer." See other side. Perplexed, some people raced from front to back and front to back and round again, while the evangelist just stood there quietly. Other individuals shrugged their shoulders and left, or did one of those wheelies next to their heads. Some began to snicker and laugh, laughing, "Oh, the evangelist is such a clown." Still others, sensing a slight to their settled convictions, left scowling, "False prophet or deceiver." But at length, a wise woman came by, considered the sign from the front, finally from the rear, and stood and pondered and said, "Yes, we all want the answer. Yet, being willing to see another side is the only way to come close." And the evangelist smiled approvingly. As a community of free-thinking mystics with hands, Unitarian Universalists urge people of all ages in our religious home to share honest confusion as well as firm conviction. We don't bask in quandaries, but we aren't timid to confess them. In the intrepid sharing of bewilderment among trusted spiritual kin, we garner both enlightenment and resolve. May our church always be dedicated to the proposition that beneath all our differences and behind all our diversity, there's a unity that makes us one and binds us together in spite of time and death and space between the stars. That's from Reverend David Bumbaugh. So let's pause in silent witness.
Thank you, Emily. Every week we split our offering with a much-needed nonprofit organization. And today is the last Sunday of the month. So this is the last Sunday that we are supporting the Valley Youth House, and their Synergy Project. So please help younger adults and children who are homeless in Lower Bucks County. The Synergy Project is focused on connecting with this population of younger adults and children on the streets, providing food, toiletries, and other essentials. We expect some heavy-duty cold weather this year, so please be generous. The offering has been given with love and accepted with gratitude. Thank you. We'll have our musical interlude from Avi Wisniak.
In this season of Thanksgiving, it's good to count those things that we can be grateful for. And there's a beautiful song by John Buccino that encourages us to do just that. It's called Grateful. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I've got a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance, for whatever life may sling, we can mourn or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly
Wow, that was great. Let us welcome back Emily for her sermon, A Celebration of Doubts.
Celebration of doubt. So, how many of you out there have a belief that you would rather not have? Something that you know you believe, even though you think it's probably kind of wrong. You wish you didn't believe it, but you know it's in there. For me, mine is a belief in time travel. And there's a lot of evidence that time travel to the past is not possible. I mean, time travel to the future may be plausible because of relativity. Like, if you're going fast enough, you can possibly be a time differential from somebody else. But, like, traveling back to the past like Marty McFly, not so much. Yet that little particle of faith lingers at the back of my mind saying, but This ancient story would make so much sense with modern technology behind it. If somebody went back in time, they could totally do that. So I don't have enough evidence to do a frame-by-frame examination of any of these wild stories in my head. And it lingers there, straddling that line between belief and doubt. But even though it's a slightly embarrassing belief, I'm okay with it. I mean, I guess I have something in common with all those people who watch Ancient Aliens. For a lot of things, though, I'm a skeptic. One of the most famous skeptics in history is St. Thomas the Apostle. Now, St. Thomas was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus named in the New Testament. One of the things he's known for is evangelizing through India to preach the gospel. But that's not really what he's known for. Mostly, he is famous for his incredulous reaction to the news that Jesus had risen from the dead. So this is the text from the Bible. I was originally going to get the James version off of Wikipedia, but then I found my grandfather's Bible, and I was like, oh, I can read from my grandfather's Bible. So it says, "Now Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, 'We have seen the Lord.' But he said unto them, 'Unless I see in his hands the print of the nails, and place my finger in the mark of the nails, and place my hand in his side, I will not believe.' Well, 8 days later, his disciples were again in the house, and Thomas was with them. The doors were all shut, but Jesus came and stood among them and said, 'Peace be with you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Put your finger here, and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not be faithless, but be believing.' And Thomas answered him, 'My Lord, my God.'" I probably would have done the same thing. "Oh my God!" Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Well, blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." Yeah, so 2,000 years after that story, that poor man is still known as Doubting Thomas. It seems to be used as a pejorative. I even looked up Doubting Thomas memes, and I found a meme that was like, doubt for one little minute, and they never let you forget it. But is it wrong to doubt? Bless you. Of course it's not wrong to doubt. Doubt is part of those natural responses that kept us safe. They still keep us safe. But back in the day, the ancient ancestor who verified that there was not a bear in the cave before waltzing in to set up camp there, I bet they went on to survive. The ancient ancestor who tested out some of those plants before eating them, that ancient ancestor went on to survive. So when we're taught not to doubt, we're sometimes being taught not to trust our own instincts. And I think the story of Thomas is an inspiring story. Jesus wasn't angry with Thomas for having doubts. He came back specifically to give Thomas the proof he was asking for. And Thomas didn't hold rigidly to his views or go back and spread conspiracy theories about Jesus on Facebook. No, when confronted with evidence, Thomas changed his mind. He took the advice of Ronald Reagan. He trusted but verified. Just like Doubting Thomas, as UUs, we value a direct experience of mystery and wonder. We're obligated towards that search, that free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We believe that every person has the fundamental right to question and to doubt. Thomas was not immortalized as a skeptic for refusing to believe evidence. He was labeled as a doubter for refusing to believe a wild story the first time he heard it. But when he was presented with evidence, he believed, he had faith, he changed. All right, so now I'm going to read you a snip from an article, but I'm not going to tell you where the article came from or who wrote it just yet. But we'll start with this. All right. A few years ago, the article starts, I asked a sample of adults to think about all of the disagreements they have with other people, from minor disagreements about relatively unimportant things to major disagreements about really important matters. Then I ask them to estimate the percentage of the disagreements they have with other people in which they are the one who is correct. Only about 4% of respondents indicated that they were right less than half the time. About 14% of respondents said they were right about half the time. The vast majority, 82% of people, reported that when they disagree with other people, they are the one who is right. Now, pause a moment. Ask yourself the same question. In what percentage of the disagreements that you have with other people are you the one who's right? All right, so what do you think? Did you answer the question in the article in your head? Yeah? When you thought about it, are you convinced that you're right in most of the arguments that you have? Now, if you're arguing, unless we're all arguing with the same, 14 people, so, come on, phone, okay. And this is why I should never do this on my phone. So, I know that I always think I'm right as well. And maybe I owe an apology to my teenage daughter, but if I care enough to argue, I must be right, right? But what would it take to convince me that I'm wrong? What would it take to convince you that you're wrong? Would you believe the evidence like Doubting Thomas did? Okay, so here's the big reveal. The article is from the Greater Good Project at UC Berkeley, and it's called What Does Intellectual Humility Look Like? It was written by Goranczyk Family Emeritus Professor of Psychology and Neuroscience at Duke University, Mark Leary, and it's from November 23rd, 2021. Now, intellectual humility, I don't know, you guys may have heard me talk about this before, but it can loosely be described as the capacity to keep an open mind, or the ability to acknowledge that you could be wrong. Mark Leary describes a couple of studies that he's done about intellectual humility. He says, one of our studies showed that people high in intellectual humility were more attentive to the quality of the evidence in an article about the value of dental flossing, more clearly distinguishing the good reasons to floss from the bad reasons to floss. And because they realized their beliefs might be wrong, intellectually humble people pay more attention to the quality of the evidence on which their beliefs are based. There was another study where participants read sentences about controversial topics, and intellectually humble participants spent more time reading the sentences that expressed the viewpoints they didn't agree with. Now, people who were intellectually less humble and people who were intellectually more humble, they spent about the same amount of time reading the sentences that they agreed with. But the intellectually humble people spent more time on the ones that they didn't agree with. And along the same lines, a study by Tanal Porter and Karina Schumann found that people higher in intellectual humility were more interested in understanding why people disagree with them. Not just that they disagree, but why is it they disagree? So these and other findings, he writes, suggest that people high in intellectual humility pay greater attention to evidence for and against beliefs and spend more time thinking about beliefs with which others disagree. And so, not surprisingly, people who are aware that their views might be wrong are more inclined to think about the accuracy of their beliefs than people who assume that they're right about most things. Yeah, I really should be giving my poor little daughter a pass occasionally. So, okay, another throwback reference. Does anyone here remember the 90s cartoon about the bumbling superhero, The Tick? Yeah, okay, so if you do, you may remember Tung Tung, which was this giant creature that was created by Dr. Mung Mung, and it was, as its name suggests, entirely made of tongue. Now, in one episode, Tung Tung switches bodies with the Tick, causing Dr. Mung Mung to say, Pity poor Tongue Tongue, for he has but one small tongue with which to taste the world. You're like, what? Where's she going with this? Well, in some ways, we are all like Tongue Tongue. We have only our own one small self with which to experience an entire universe of possibilities. And even though we can intellectually be aware that other people have different experiences, that they, like ourselves, have only one tongue with which to taste the world, not having lived in their bodies, not being in their bodies, we can only appreciate other people's viewpoints from the vantage of our own imaginations. And while I like to think of myself as being able to empathize with others, I've only been hungry when I couldn't be bothered to get up off my bottom and go to the refrigerator for food. I've only slept outside when I'd chosen to go camping. I've only lost access to drinking water when we had to redig our well. And granted, I would not have chosen to have to redig my well, but it wasn't a big deal. Like, we just went out and we said, hey, can somebody redig this well? And then they did, and then we paid for it and we were done. It's like 3 days. Now, I was once in line at the grocery store behind somebody who, she was like going through her order, and like at the end, the cashier gave her the total and she said, oh, all right, put back the eye makeup. I mean, I've never been in a position where my budget was made or lost by a single tube of Maybelline. And yet, this poor woman, I mean, I can empathize, I can sympathize, but I haven't been there. I don't know what it feels like. And on the other hand, I know that there are people who would view me putting off buying a new couch because my dog decided to rip a hole in it and the springs came out. They would view that in the same way that I view putting off buying a tube of mascara. Like, why would you do that? Just do it. So I know that there are people who've lived very different lives from mine, but I still only have one tongue with which to taste the world. And imagination and experience are still not the same thing. And the universe is so much bigger than any one of us on our tiny blue dot of a planet. Do you guys remember that book, Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan? He wrote, that's here, that's home, that's us. On this planet is everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of. Every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero, every coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every mother and father and hopeful child, inventor, explorer, teacher of morals, corrupt politicians, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the entire history of our species has lived there on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. Carl Sagan is right. How can any of us, each with our one small tongue, imagine that we have all the answers? Now, Owen Towle talked about our faith journey as an intrepid sharing of bewilderment. So yeah, some days we may feel lost in the wilds of the new realities where fake news is a real worry, where AI sometimes hallucinates a story and makes it up when they can't find the answer we're looking for, where most people find their news on social media platforms that care more about emotional reactions than actual truth. We're allowed to be bewildered by all this. We're allowed to doubt and ask for evidence. We're allowed to be wrong and change our minds and change our opinions and our beliefs when new circumstances and new facts come to life. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning means that we are encouraged to look deeply at the things we find bewildering and take our faith from those things that ring true to the still small voice inside. Honestly, for many of our current debates, there are no real right answers. There's only wrong answers and slightly less wrong answers. And all of our debates are about which less right answer is doing the least harm. Our doubts are as important as our faith, not only because we're able to see the flaws in the opinions held by other people, but also because we're able to see the flaws in our own thinking. Robert T. Weston tells us to cherish our doubts. And I believe he's right. Our doubts allow us to have the intellectual humility to grow and change and innovate. When we doubt, we can see that the answer is on the other side. And I have faith that we will always move forward to look for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Now is the time in our service when we recognize and lift up one another in love. Please come forward to share your joy or sorrow right here at this microphone. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. No joys, no sorrows. It's good to see the Ermers here. Oh, wow. Okay, so his neighbors are having a baby as we speak, hopefully, and no family in the area, which I understand very well, so wishing them well. Anything else? Well, whether or not you spoke today, for your joys, we in this community share and join in your celebration. And for any sorrows or concerns, may you feel our sympathy and compassion. As we pause, we will sing Spirit of Life. Oh, no. Oh, well, yeah. It's no more joys or sorrows, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Responsive reading, which is up on the screen, or will be in a moment. And your part is there in yellow or green. For the expanding grandeur of creation, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. For our human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, for all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, for human liberty and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. We give thanks this day. We pray that our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Thank you. Please stand for our closing song, and you can sing along.
Please join me in our closing hymn, number 1010, as we give thanks one more time with our hymn, We Give Thanks. We'll talk about time, faith, and hope. All those things that we get to share together as a community. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all those gathered here and those far away, for this faith we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this hope we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. One more time. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
All right. Going to extinguish our chalice. As surely as we belong to the universe, we belong together. We joined here today to transcend the isolated self, to reconnect, to know ourselves, to be at home, here on earth, under the stars, linked with each other in love and faith. Our service is concluded. For those of you on Zoom, thank you for joining us today, and we hope you can come again next week. In the meantime, I always want to thank Emily for a wonderful reading and sermon. And for all of you that are here, please join me in the cafeteria for coffee, fellowship, and conversation. Go now in peace. Amen, and blessed be.